That's 7:05. So Wesley, if you can hit the record.
Already going.
All right, let's just go ahead and make it official. So happy end of the year, everybody. Happy holidays. Once again, this is the POPs monthly meeting. It is a little unusual this year. Usually we have this meeting with wine goblets in hand and sitting in front of a nice, well-accoutrement, well-appointed restaurant. And this year, unfortunately, we're in the online, and so this is quite a change. So sorry, just imagine you have a beautiful plate of food in front of you with a nice glass of wine, and we'll have a toast to the end of the year. But I just want to thank you all for coming. I want to say those of you that are here that we kind of made it through this very, very challenging year. And hopefully with now a new president coming in, there's some light at the end of the tunnel that we can finally see. But in the meantime, I just want to welcome everybody. I think we'll have a kind of a short meeting today. I want to put before you, I forgot to add this to the agenda, and Wesley, I just thought about it like 2 hours ago, which is that I want you guys to consider, and I'd like to put it to a vote at the end of the meeting today, whether we want to support closure or opening or partial opening and closure of the upper grade highway. I would like POPs to at least take a position on that we can tell to Supervisor Marr to help him guide to see what they're finally going to do with that. But I just wanted to put that as three options, which is to bring it back open fully like it was before, to completely close it to traffic like it is now, or to find some compromise in between, let's say open on weekdays to traffic and close to traffic on weekends. So, so I'd like everyone to have that considered. We'll put it to a vote tonight, okay? All right, and then so let's just see, can we do a little introduction here? I've already said who I am. Peter, can we go to you?
Absolutely. Peter Monks from the Far Out Gallery on 40th and Taravel.
Robert Dittler.
Hello, everyone. Happy end of the year. I'm the secretary for POPs.
And Margaret.
And I have a nonprofit called Senior Power.
Paula.
Paula Katz here. I'm on the executive board.
Claudia, you're muted, but can you introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. Claudia from El Cafe, 24th in Taraval.
Les.
Les, I'm the treasurer of POPs.
Wesley.
Hey there. My name's Wes, and I'm the director for POPs. I'm also a resident and a student.
Okay, and Jessica. Jessica, are you able to introduce? I'm asking her to, she's muted. Yeah. All right, Doug.
Doug Marschke, owner of Underdogs 2.
Cool. And I have a...
Sorry, this is Jessica. I was unmuted. I apologize, but our car broke down, so we have to go find another car now. So sorry, I'm on the phone right now, but my name's Jessica. I work for Northeast Medical Services, also on the board of POPs, and happy to be here.
All right, cool, Jessica, thank you. And I have a 415-680-5936 number. I don't know who that is. Hello? Phone number, call in. Okay. Hello?
Hi, it's Eileen.
Oh, hi, Eileen. Sorry,
okay, I'm unmuted
your
now.
number doesn't come through, it doesn't ID you, so I didn't know.
Yeah, I'm on a smartphone.
Great. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so first, I think I'll start off with the COVID updates. I heard from Governor Newsom's press conference today. It does not look good. As you may well know, COVID is really on the rise, and we're going to get the second punch. It's probably starting to happen right now. It's been a week since Thanksgiving. And so people that are going to getting, that are asymptomatic and becoming symptomatic should be happening around now and maybe in the few more coming days. But, Governor Newsom sounded very serious today. And I think that possibly Mayor Breed may just follow the state orders, which means that we may go down and crank down into a further close down or shut down, just like earlier this year. There will be the closing of outdoor dining, salons, hair salons, bars, barbershops, gyms, you name it. So it might be just down to essential businesses again. Doug, I don't know what that means for the beachside event, but from what the description is, it doesn't sound good. For the farmers market, I was discussing that with Wesley, and it's a food store, so they may not allow any more dining tables that they've been putting out for people to shop and eat. I think it'll just be a shop and go situation. And for restaurants, it might be just to go only once again. But that is what it is. And I don't know anything about financial support, but I hope they do come up with something like that. That's all I have at the moment for COVID updates. I'm sorry. I do have one more, which is Jessica brought to my attention with regards to COVID testing that Northeast Medical Services does do it for free. I haven't done it yet. I just had my COVID test a day ago, and I will try NEMS and see what the system's like. But from what I heard, you make a phone call, make an appointment, and then you will, once you take your test, you'll get your results within 2 to 3 days. So you can call Northeast Medical Services. Right?
Yep, thank you.
Cool. That was just a plug for you guys, but an important one. Okay.
What is the phone number, please?
Jessica, do you have it? Jessica?
Yeah, I can put it through the text.
Great, thank you. Okay. And then SFMTA. So what has happened with SFMTA is that they've sent out a notice, Jerry Deep has, and her office have sent out a notice that they are forestalling any construction on the 40th to 41st Avenue section of the project for now until after the New Year's, which is great news. And I think that we need to take advantage of that to find out what exactly we need. Like what options we can do, because you've seen how disruptive it is. So what options can we think of that we can request of SFMTA so that when they do start up again, there'll be a place maybe to park. Maybe there'll be some banners, something to tell people to drive business to that area and how to get there. So maybe we can even have signs on Sunset Boulevard, turn here to go down and shop at these restaurants and shops, or something to that nature. But it's one that I think that we should put our heads together and consider some options, because you know what, these are options that we may have to use again on the upper section segment B of the Terraville project. And so let's learn our lessons well here. So for me, I think that, those are the two that I thought of is the sign that diverts people off of Sunset Boulevard, says, hey, turn here on Santiago or turn here on Yoloa to go down to 40th Avenue. And these are the restaurants and shops that are available. Secondly, I think that maybe if they're going to hog up all the parking spaces on Terraville Street on both sides of the street during construction, they should allow like having some cordoned off spaces on 41st and 40th Avenue for, for customers to park and conduct business. If you guys have any other considerations, let me know.
I just want to say that, it's a block away, which is not that bad. But on Wawona, let's say Uloa, between 40 and 41st, there's actually quite a few parking spaces there all the time now. By the school, was it San Gabriel's? That area there's actually, I think a lot of parking, 6, 7 parking spaces there all the time.
That's a lot of parking spaces. Okay, let's make a note of that.
Is St. Gabriel's open? They're closed, are they
They're
not?
closed. That's why there's a lot of spaces there now.
All right, so now would it be possible, they also use their playground for Sunday parking. Would it be possible for us to contact them and to get permission to use their parking lot as long as it's not being used for school?
Somehow, someone,
I think
feel
that
like they know.
ask.
I know, it just sounds like a liability issue, but
Does it hurt to ask?
Yep. Okay. All right, any other thoughts? Peter, you're one of the merchants down there. Have you seen some things that would help you guys out?
Well, to me, there's a very good chance that we'd actually just close the shop if they start working there, because there'll be no parking, and the side roads, there's no way that they can ever put any parking in there. Up on Santiago, you can get some in the neighborhood. There are some there, but I believe that the disruption is going to be so intense that people are just going to not want to be there.
Well, that's one of the things that, see, this is one of the lessons I learned from West Portal, is that they forced the contractor to make concessions. Like they said, hey, you guys working here, you need to eat and shop at those stores that are in the area that you're immediately working at, number one. Number two, you need to keep the place clean. Number three, you need to cut down noise to certain hours of the day. And I thought that worked out fairly well for them. Although I feel bad that they're going to have to redo the whole thing because their tracks are screwed up in the tunnel now. I don't know if you guys heard the news on that one, but that's a bad one. Okay, well, we can make those demands. We can at least try to find out where we can limit the hours of jackhammering and so forth, so that's not right at the lunch hour.
Even now, before they're doing all the big construction, the amount of dirt and filth that gets thrown up against our windows on our street, it's unbelievable. It just is amazing. I wish they would have a little better cleaning outfit there, but they sure don't.
We have to demand it, or they won't do it.
Yeah.
Albert, the contractor on Caravel is NTK. Who is the one who did the West Portal? Is it the same contractor?
No, it was the one that got in trouble because they didn't have the right OSHA requirements. Remember that gentleman that was the poor man that was killed inside the tunnel? And
Shimmick. Shimmick is the one.
Yeah, it was a different contractor. But anyway, it was demanded by the merchants that they, have some concessions to make it, reasonable amount of, cleanliness and noise pollution when it came to the construction in front of those places. So I think we can demand the same. It's already happened before, so there's a precedence for it.
Well, Albert, what about getting the Council of District Merchants involved?
I can certainly talk to Mario. And Voss was the lead on the West Portal merchants with liaisoning with Shinman and also with SFMTA. So I could talk to Voss as well. I'm just making my notes here. in vicinity is parking. Okay. Well, if you guys have any other ideas, please, even during this meeting, just chime them in to me, okay? Would you please? And then, let's see. I don't know anything about segment B. I haven't heard anything yet about what's going to happen.
They've delayed putting it out to bid.
Is that right?
They said last year they were going to rebid in March of this year, and as far as I'm aware, it has still not gone out to bid, which is good news. It gives us some flexibility. They have
money.
They have no cash, and that's I think why they're delaying finishing the segment out by the beach, because I mean their ridership is down 95%.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, yeah, okay.
On the news last night, Jeff Tumlin was talking about they're finding every which way to find resources to keep Muni going, but it looks like they're going to have to lay off over 1,000 people in the coming months. And they said that the only way to stop this from happening is if Biden becomes president and works on a transportation plan nationwide to save many, many other transportation agencies, as well as possibly who wins the Georgia Senate races that are still up in play. Because if it becomes a Democratic Senate, then we have a shot at it. If not, who knows?
And well, Albert, they're looking to lay off operators and mechanics. They're not looking to lay off all the top-heavy administrators and planners that they have that are making six-figure salaries. That they're not willing to do. They're only willing to look at the people who actually provide the service, which I think is wrong.
I can see the steam coming out of Robert Dittler's ears right now at hearing that statement. He always tells me, follow the money, follow the money. Yes. Thank you, Eileen. That's a good telling thing. I guess no one in the upper echelons want to take a pay cut either, right?
No. Roger Marenko, the president of the union, the TWU 250A, said he would be willing to take a 10% pay cut if managers like Tumlin, who makes over $400,000 a year, was willing to. And Tumlin basically, didn't answer basically. So no, these people at the top, and the union always says cut from the top. You've got all these top heavy, you've got livable streets, you've got sustainable streets, you've got everybody and their brother, and you've got this 10 people just doing motorcycle safety. They have a lot of fat they could cut, but they don't want to.
Mm-hmm. Very, very sad.
I could add, does the city administrator, who is now on personal leave because of her husband's involvement in nefarious activity, is she being paid? Is it a non-paid or is it a paid administrative leave? Anybody know? I'm sorry. I'll be.
Oh, that was a good comment, Robert. I have a feeling it's a paid administrative leave until some evidence comes up, right? That might force her to resign. Okay. Anything else new on anything else on Muni? Nada. Okay. All right. Well, at least maybe we don't have to deal with Sigmund B for a little while. But okay, be that as it may. Newsletter feedback and ideas. I think that, Wesley and Jessica have been putting together a fantastic newsletter. I've actually run into people that have given me glowing reviews of it. They say that our newsletter and Dog Patch are the best ones in the city now. Like, they just look so clean and well done. So congratulations. And on that note, we should also think about helping them with ideas for content. I don't know if you guys have started thinking about it, but I thought that we should start spotlighting merchants on the newsletter. And I think that because of the upcoming disruptions going on 40th, 41st, maybe we should really do spotlights on the merchants on that street. What do you think? Other topics, folks?
I think just building off of that, I think going into this was kind of like one of the ideas that we really wanted to do too. Bringing back merchant spotlight, something that I did in a previous newsletter, and then kind of just want to get the feel from folks about how that should be done, kind of a little bit more of like where we should be focusing, and obviously within areas that are undergoing construction and folks that are corridors that are facing a little bit of a harder time, we definitely want to give them a little bit more prioritization. But yeah, just wanted to follow up with y'all, hear what y'all had to think so far, and other content idea like that, building off of it, something new, anything, we're looking to continue, hopefully past COVID. And so, yeah, just wanted to get the read from folks.
I think you all are doing a great job. You and Jessica, Wes, you and Jessica.
Thank you.
Just incredible. I'm just wondering if, the way I understand what Newsom said today is once the ICU bed count goes down or up or something or other in the next 3 weeks, then he's going to impose the lockdown, but the cities can impose it sooner. If the mayor if it gets imposed in San Francisco, either because we hit that limit or she's being proactive in imposing it sooner, can you guys just send out an update on that so that everyone knows what the city's new rules will be? I mean, it doesn't have to be a long newsletter. You can just copy and paste whatever the press release is, but I think that might be helpful for people. Because you've got a good email list.
Definitely. I think
sorry.
Oh no, go for it.
This is Jessica. Thank you so much, Paula. Actually, I was going to ask that same question because, I do this for work, which is why it makes it really easy to just kind of figure out what to report on. But then with the MailChimp function, it's harder to format. So oftentimes it will take longer than if you were just to copy and paste something important, like just forward an email saying like, this happened today, this might impact you. Now, like the timelines are much shorter than they used to be. So I guess my request to the group is to give me advice on whether or not you're okay with having just email sent out to the list, or do you want us to do like a MailChimp version where it's all formatted every time there's like a big update?
I personally think it should be whatever is easier for you. That's my thoughts.
I think it's fine to do email blasts.
Yeah.
And for my 2 cents,
we just have to watch out who's on the mailing list. We might have to kind of look at the mailing list and massage it.
I think that, like in this period that we're living in right now, I feel like the ground is always shifting under my feet. It's really hard for me to plan anything long-term because I don't know what the rules will be in 2 months, 2 days, 2 weeks. So I think that in the case of these press releases, which I get from the mayor's office, I think we should, if they're really big, if it's going to be talking about shutdowns and everything, and it's not working with the time cycle of the newsletter, it doesn't matter. I think we should just go ahead, Jessica, Wesley, should just blast it out.
And
Because
the other option, remember, is that we can do this through Gmail because the contact list there is segmented. So not everyone needs to know what the city is doing. People can look at that themselves because it's published. But say like we have all the businesses have one list. All the POPs members have one list. So it can be sent out to those minimal emails, they're segmented. They're already existing. So the list is already massaged.
Okay.
Well, I respectfully disagree with you on one thing, Robert. I think not everyone does get all the information when it's announced, and it doesn't hurt for POPs to send out an email to everyone. If they have it already, they don't have to read the email, but I think I find it useful in the newsletters when you put everything out. So I would like it sent to everyone on our list.
Okay.
I don't think
As
it
you
hurts
wish,
to send
as you
it.
wish.
It's
I'm
easy
on.
enough to do that. It's easy enough to do. You know.
You know, I also put all that information on our Facebook page, but unfortunately, you know, it's on the news feed, so it gets lost pretty quickly. You know, because it drops every time you put something on there, it drops lower and lower.
Okay. Well, that may not make much of a deal, Les, because things change so much anyway. It might not be relevant in 2 days. So let it drop. You know, if we find it important enough, I think that we'll reblast things anyhow. So anyway, are there any other ideas that we have for the newsletter for this month? We can talk about how we're not having a Christmas tree lighting.
You know, when we talk about the merchant highlights, are we going to emphasize the merchant members? Or are we going to just emphasize any merchant?
At this point, we need to save merchants in order to have members. So I don't think it matters at this right now. I've already waived the merchant fees, the membership fees. So for all intents and purposes, whoever we highlight, we just say, hey, you're now also a Met Pops member.
Yeah.
Just give me your info. You don't even have to write a check.
It would be nice to highlight it, to list all the restaurants that we know of that have takeout or pickup.
Yeah, but would that work for the newsletter? Maybe that's something. Maybe we can just create that list, but I don't. And that maybe we can link it to, and put a link from the newsletter to look for restaurants that are open. Who's got time to do that, by the way?
I also do think Sunset Strong has already done a pretty good map of at least the Sunset of different businesses that are open that you can kind of filter between, like whether it's more of like a gift, more of a restaurant or something along those lines. So I can reach out to Susan Ryan and see if she wants to kind of do a collab on that.
Yeah, maybe we just a paragraph referencing her and a link to her in the newsletter.
Yeah, for sure.
Is someone talking? Albert's muted.
No, I think Albert just walked away for a quick second.
Oh, okay.
He's on the phone. Okay. But yeah, I can reach out to her, and I know especially during this time of year, a lot of other folks around the neighborhood start doing kind of their own neighborhood gift guides, whether it's on Irving, whether it's on Terraville. I was wondering if I can probably find a way to incorporate something along those lines in as well.
And while we're waiting for Albert, Doug, are you still on the line? Doug? Because Doug closed one store that was in the Inner Sunset and moved and opened a new store on 9th and either Irving and Judah. So,
What's next on the agenda?
Recap in New Year.
Sorry, I heard my name. I was on
Okay.
mute. I'm sorry.
Enough.
Is there a question for me?
Doug, are you still there?
I am.
Okay, I was just congratulating you on your new store, which replaces the store you just closed.
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet, but we'll see. We're going through inspections, so we're still open at 19th, and we hope to open sometime in the new year over 9th. But thank you.
Okay, and you're still doing takeout at our restaurant, right?
Yep, and outside dining at least for another few weeks.
Thanks.
Hey, I'm sorry I had to break away there, but that was actually my sales rep that told me that We just got it. They just landed a bunch of N95s in the warehouse, so I just ordered a whole bunch. So that was my
That's
news.
great.
Yeah, real N95s. And so, but anyway, some news on the PPE that's for distribution. I know that Wesley, you had some conversations with Margot Kelly trying to do something, but you know what? That supply is exhausted now, and they have no more free face masks. I still have a whole bunch of hand sanitizer and face shields, and that's it. Oh, and posters as well, but that's it. If you or any other merchants need some, come by and we can get you some more of those products. But that's all we have. Well, that's all the city has, and they are not sure if they'll be getting any more in the future, but they will still be they'll be looking for more. So it's a big maybe at this point. Okay.
So I have one last thing to add about the newsletter, or just in general for POP. So the last newsletter, I know it got really long, but we wanted to add some volunteer opportunities or something that we can do to help merchants or the community. But I don't know if it was just me, but I could not find like a list of things that we, volunteer opportunities for people who are able. Everything I found was just like donate money, but not like actual helping physically do something. Maybe that's something we can include in the next newsletter, or honestly, like I work for a nonprofit, but as a business person, I would love your input on what it would be that you would really appreciate in the upcoming holidays, like anything that people can do or anything, just something that would be nice for people to contribute to in the next couple months or next month even. We can include that in the newsletter.
Well, there's ongoing volunteer work on, I think Tuesdays and Fridays on Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah, Les, can you send that to me? Any like volunteer opportunities on this, anyone on this call, if they know of anything, just send them to me and Wesley, because we just want to like start compiling things in the newsletter of like ways that people can help, even if it's virtual, like even if it's making calls from your home, just something so that, in the spirit of giving back, I think that really helps with the Christmas spirit.
How about maybe doing a not so fancy kind of tree decorating on that tree that's there on McCoppin Square? We could get some lights and just string it up. Doesn't have to look professional, but that could be something we can do this year and have volunteers do that.
Yeah, I mean, that would be, I think if we could do it socially distanced, it's outside in the park. That's
right.
something
It's
that
a
we
big
could
tree.
look at.
I'll be willing to help out on that. I have some Christmas lights I can certainly donate to the cause. Okay. All right, so that means like for volunteer, maybe Christmas tree lights. And what was the other one?
I think Les mentioned something about volunteering.
Yeah, Sunset Boulevard tree planting.
Okay.
Yeah, that's with Marcos Major, right? With Climate Action Now.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I can contact Marcos and see what he has going on.
Okay. Very good. And then, well, should I just go for our recap of last year and things to consider for going forward? I'd like to remind you that not so long ago, last year, we actually won 2 awards for the SFCDMA at the gala as the Merchant Association of the Year out of all the merchants associations in the Sunset, in San Francisco. And then we got the NENS Award presented by the mayor at City Hall. So these were two phenomenal achievements for us. Just just one right after the other. I couldn't believe it. So in January, we were actually talking about hiring street musicians to play ambient music in different parts of Fairville Street. So to kind of create a nicer atmosphere for people to come shop and hang around, and so that Fairville would not be such a pass-through place, but a place that you would actually want to stay and listen to music and participate in kind of a positive community way. We were starting to consider street closures for merchant activity. So I think the beachside event is kind of a fruition of that early thought. In February, we had our March election candidates come in, and and then also that was kind of like the starting session of the farmers market as well. We talked about the movies in March for movies in McCoppin, which of course didn't happen. It was the strangest October I've had in a long time that I had nothing to do. And in June, so we skipped April and May, but in June we picked up our meetings again. So we all had a little bit of hiatus, and we started our first meeting again on Zoom in June. And in July, we started the Terraville Strong campaign. And to this date, I think I'm still sitting on about, I want to say about $600 to $700. I haven't looked at that account in a while, but it's in that range. And we should find some use for that money that has been accumulating. Maybe we can help use it for the merchants that are suffering, or just I don't know, throw some sort of celebration or decoration or towards a program that we want to do on Terraville Street. In August, we did PPE distribution on the street. First time, and then in October we did another one. And in October, unfortunately, we had that crime spree. But in a way, that kind of brought a lot of merchants together, that we had a common foe, which was this random crime. There was kind of a fallout and a negative fallout from the Black Lives Matter movement. But in that, we also got a chance to meet up with a lot of high brass from SFPD that had a summit meeting at my store in the driveway. We had like a bunch of commanders and captains come to our meeting and talk to us about things that we can do, open a dialogue. And I've, on occasion, kept those dialogues going with them just in case we should need some action or services from them. So I just try to keep the communication lines open. So anyway, that's kind of the recap we've had for this last year, is that I think we did a lot of helping as much as we could, and people still are looking to us for guidance as pops in the sunset. I've had a summit with Gordon Marr, Supervisor Marr, and they're trying to devise ways to, save businesses throughout the Sunset District. And so it's still a work in progress. I don't know what they're coming up with, but we certainly said we don't need any really crazy schemes to, like shoot fireworks. It's more like simple things right now that we had come up with from the summit, because we just need a reduction of fees. We don't, if we can cut the permit fees, if we can cut the business license fees, things that will just help us get to the other side of this worldwide pandemic, that I think we're all happy enough as that. We don't need any big gifts, right? We just need simple stuff. We just need relief. And on that thought, thinking about next year, I don't know exactly what that's going to be like, but I think that the Sunset Farmers Market will continue. At some point when things get a little bit more normalized, I think Beachside Terraville event will continue. I think, Doug, you guys are going to close it down for January, February. Is that right?
Yeah, our last date's supposed to be December 20th, which probably falls in line with the new stay-at-home order that's gonna hit around then anyway.
Right. So in a way that kind of works out.
Yeah, and I mean it's been like successful and also very frustrating. I would say, to be honest with you. I think you kind of see when people use these terms like we're all in this together. Not everyone's in it together. I'll say that. We've definitely had some residents' complaints with that event, which is unfortunate because I think they should see the bigger picture of what's going on here, but they don't.
Well, I think the people that are on my screen right now take the time to put themselves out there to work for the good that is beyond themselves and beyond just their storefronts.
Yep.
And that's not a lot of people. Usually you ask 100, you'll get 5. It's just kind of the way the ratios usually work out. So that kind of, despite that, Doug, you had the perseverance to make it happen and continue to happen and resolve problems. You and Angie and Dave down there, and it's been a good team. So
yeah. No, it's been good. It's been good. And honestly, like I tell everyone, it's not even for us down in those. We've helped. I talk to every merchant that goes out there and sells. Whether that be CBD shop or clothing store or what have you, and we've really saved their businesses. They didn't have a place to sell their t-shirts or whatever they were selling, and although it was a smaller event, they did well. It was more they were doing online or at eBay or whatever else they were trying to do. So I think that's the part where I keep on telling everyone in our neighborhood, it's not just there's opportunities when you do these things, not just for the front door, but to bring other people in that can really make or break them.
Well, thank you. And I know it's been a really tough year for you too, Doug.
Yeah. I mean, Taco Shop didn't survive. Taco Shop Runner-Ups didn't make it. I'm trying in a different spot, but we're closing on the 20th. It's just we couldn't do it anymore.
No, I hear you. That's okay. You're not closing. You're reopening. You're moving. So
that's the marketing pitch for sure. But that's not really what's happening. But that's the marketing pitch.
Well, you'll have a bigger kitchen.
Yes, that is true. That's a good thing.
So no matter what, your to-go capacity or your indoor-outdoor dining capacity will be increased no matter what.
Yeah, for sure. If any of those things are going to happen, we'll see. I mean, it's an interesting process for our EPH inspections and all our inspections on how nice or not they're being to us. They're not really. It's not. You think it would be easier because they want us to open, but it's not easier. It's unfortunate, but
I think that kind of helping small businesses start up again. Because so many have closed, but that a lot of those people still have entrepreneurial spirits, and they're still going to want to open again. And the passing of Proposition 8, I think they should make it easier. There's just too much red tape in this town.
Agreed.
Moving forward, I don't know if we're going to have movies in Macapa next year. I just don't know. Like I said, I feel like I stand on shaky ground every day, and rules change all the time. So if we don't have an event like that, I'd like you guys to think of some ideas that I've caught. I thought of one, which was to have a concert. I actually reached out to San Francisco Symphony a couple times to see if they would want to participate in a concert. So another one that was brought up was a night market. So possibly doing something that maybe not at McCoppin Square, but maybe somewhere on the street. I'm thinking probably Upper Terraville would be the more ideal place to do it. In McCoppin Square, wild one I think is some kind of like large community yoga. maybe with some accoutrement, some other activities around it, maybe some kids activities, but I thought something to stay healthy, stay active would be a nice thing. And the biggest production I think that we could possibly come up with is maybe if we don't have movies in McCoppin, maybe we can get a permit and close off part of Santiago Street between 22nd and 24th, which is a dead street, a dead part of that street anyway, and do a drive-in movie. So that's a possibility, but I think that's going to be a lot of work. But yeah. Anyway, those are a couple of ideas that I had.
I love the night market, man. I'm in. I will help you find a spot for a night market.
I would love to have a night market. That would be just so interesting. If we're down far enough on restrictions, we can do that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay. Other thing that going forward for next year, maybe we, instead, like how we're doing merchant highlights for the newsletter, we can pick up where we left off from last year, which was we were starting to do video shoots, like little commercial vignettes of merchants on the street. Like do a little script, get a little bio on Claudia. You had that done for your place by the junior high school kids at Herbert Hoover. Footprint did the same thing as well. So far we've only done 2, and so that was a start. But it might not be a bad idea to we could shoot these things with an iPhone. So just a thought. Does anybody else have any other ideas that we can possibly do for next year? Margaret? You're muted, Margaret.
I'm just bringing it up because I tried to float this idea before and it just kind of got shot down or it never got legs. But I always wondered if the merchants couldn't get together and somehow have their own delivery system. In other words, it would be an incentive to people to shop locally if something got from wherever they were shopping to their house and it didn't come from Amazon, but it rather came from Great Wall. So what I'm saying is start your own delivery system on the street with the merchants on Taraval.
Oh, I'm writing that down.
I mean, I have been sheltering in place since March, so I'm really, I don't drive, I don't go out, whatever. Everything comes to the house. But that means I don't get to the Great Wall because I can't walk, it's too far. And I'm just saying, if there was you had your own delivery service, pick up and delivery, the customer calls the order in, just like they do to Doug's, or place and whatever. And you have an on-call drivers who go there. You add the price of the delivery on, and it gets delivered to my house. There's a lot of seniors in the Sunset that are sheltering in place and haven't left their house. It's just a shame that that's all going to Amazon. I think you ought to compete with them a little, and that's all it would take. So I'm floating the idea again.
I don't think that's a bad idea.
It's faster than Amazon Prime.
Yeah, well, they don't need any more money. That's for sure. Okay. Yeah, no, that's not a bad idea. Anybody else?
Okay, here's a second one.
Eileen?
Not very many of the merchants, and I know this from back in the day when I was having live meetings, and there's no gift certificates. How come the merchants don't have gift certificates? That would be something you could advertise in the newsletter and say, it's another idea, keeping the shopping local, keeping people,
Mhm.
the restaurants could have gift certificates.
We have them.
But you must be one of the few, because I know, back in the day when I had the live meetings, I went up and down trying to find people who would have them. And
No, we have them. We don't sell that many, honestly. We thought we would sell more, but we do sell them. We use them more for customer service issues, honestly. But in PR events. But yeah, we have them.
well, why doesn't that get publicized in the newsletter?
Come
I-
down.
Yep. I used to have them. And I just stopped doing it because there wasn't a lot of demand, quite honestly.
Times have changed, and now we have COVID.
Yeah.
And
Well,
people are, you
ma-
might also even be able to sell those over the phone, because, I could call you and say, I want the $320 gift certificates. Here's my Visa number. And you put it in the mail it to me. 3 certificates. You make $60, I'm happy. We're all going home with money.
Okay, I've written that down. Okay. Any other suggestions?
Kind of building off of that, but might be a long shot, but would it be worth it to do kind of like a local like gift basket raffle of like whether it would be gift cards or like even pastries from like Bruno's or something along those lines, just something to get people interacting with Pops, and then also going out to small businesses, something along those lines?
We've done that on live events. I'm not sure how the mechanics would work on an online basis, but maybe no. I'm writing it down. Gift baskets as a prize. Yeah. Okay. All right. If there's nothing else, then I'd like to see if you guys would like to take a vote on the Upper Great Highway.
Albert?
Yes, Eileen?
I was actually at the town hall meeting for that, the Upper Great Highway, and a couple of things I wanted to mention. First of all, I usually attend or dial into Gordon's town halls, and I would estimate there may be 100 people. They said there were over 400 on this call, this virtual meeting, which to me suggests there are a lot of people from outside the neighborhood who are dialing in, and with certain advocacies. They said that there, like you said, the 3 options. The one thing I would have a question about, they said most of the traffic on the Great Highway is from people in the Richmond going down the peninsula. They didn't mention, which I have heard in the past, maybe it's not true during COVID, is that people from the peninsula come up, park in like around Golden Gate Park, use the Great Highway, and then take Muni downtown. That might not be now, but in the past it has, and they did not mention that. So I think you're going to have, I'm glad you're taking a position, because I think this is going to be a lot of push from the bicycle people and, the Walk SF, and the same people we dealt with on, El Terraville Forward. I think, they're people who are typically do not compromise. It's so there's probably going to be quite a fight. Like you said, there's 3 options, and there didn't seem to be too much of a consensus, but I personally would suggest that it be open for traffic during the weekdays, and on weekends and holidays that it could be closed down, rather than closing it down permanently to all traffic. I think there is a middle ground. I don't know if the Bicycle Coalition and Walk SF will agree with that, but I'd like to just, also, have you met with Supervisor Marr on this to get a recap of what happened during the town hall?
we did touch on it as a kind of a light conversation, but no, not the entirety of the town hall. But he was interested. He did ask me what the Pops think of it. I think that he values what we say. We've been with him since the beginning, and I think that, you know, I think he was trying to flesh out what direction we were leaning, you know, before he.
Well, also at the MTA board meeting that was this Tuesday, the executive director's report did include the Great Highway, and the executive director, Tumlin, made a big deal about how the MTA was working with the neighborhood, which is kind of a new position for them. On the El Terraville, I don't think we did sense that the MTA was working with us. They are apparently concerned. He didn't come out and say it, but it seemed they're concerned that they would they would want it to go back to 100% traffic. It seems like that's what they're trying to deflect. So it's a hot topic at the MTA, and Gordon Marr, to his credit, has put a lot of advocacy, you know, in fact, threatening, you know, to withdraw his support for, you know, the temporary closure. So I think Supervisor Marr is really on this issue is, excuse me, doing a good job. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay. I'd like to say, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Margaret, please.
I also attended that same town hall meeting that Eileen is speaking of. And I live on the Great Highway, but you know, the saddest thing to me is neighbor fighting neighbor here. And it's become very fractious and it, frankly, very unsavory, kind of to the point that there's, you know, insults and name calling, and it's just gotten totally out of hand. And I just sincerely wish they jump one way or the other and we move on. But one thing that I gained out of attending that meeting was, you know, going back to what Robert said earlier, follow the money. I don't think I heard a great deal about the financial obstacles of either a partial closure or a opening it up to traffic again. And a lot of it goes back to the sand removal and the physical condition of the highway itself and the plans that are in the future to take it down to a two-way highway, which is another story out there. I thought it was a very good meeting in that they didn't get into the bickering, which has been very prevalent with the other meetings. People put their comments in the chat and then they attempted to summarize them, but they didn't even get through all the summarizing because of the 406, I believe was the count of the number of participants, and they just take that off of you know, what it says on the screen. But it was very good in the sense that it was very informative. But if you look at the financial condition of where we are right now and the cost, and they didn't mention any specific figures, I don't think that that's ever going to open to traffic again, frankly. Now, I don't know what the Merchants Association's position is because I haven't heard it. Maybe I haven't been paying attention at the meetings, but I would kind of like very much to hear from the merchants themselves, because I don't know how it is impacted, particularly those on the southern end of, or on the western end of Terraville. So maybe Doug or Albert, can you enlighten us on that a little?
I have noticed that during the COVID crisis that, you know, parts of Golden Gate Park have been shut down, you know, like 7 days a week. They've diverted traffic in Golden Gate Park and also now the Upper Great Highway. And so what that does is it does make it harder to get around town on this side of the city. And because we've been all pretty much very hyper local lately, just because of COVID, that I noticed that it's cumbersome sometimes to go north and go to Richmond. And I can imagine that if it's a potential customer that wants to come to the Sunset, coming south from the Richmond or from the marina, that would also be cumbersome. Or coming up the peninsula to patronize the Sunset. So I'm of the position, and my vote would be to open the Great Highway during the weekdays and shut it off on the weekends, because I too have exercised and walked on that street when it's closed, and it's quite pleasant. And so I get it. I get the value from both sides, but for commerce, you need that road open.
I think we need to open all the time, to be honest with you.
I concur.
I mean the I live right here too, so it's obviously it's cool to walk there and use it, but I would rather we invest in a boardwalk on the beach than take over a major highway where everyone's just going to reroute on the lower Great Highway, which is full of residents. I don't think that's very safe. And for my business, I don't think it really affects me one way or another, but I just hate to see something like that removed when there's a beach right there that everyone can enjoy. And I think there really are some traffic safety concerns. That's my opinion.
Okay. Paula?
I may be in the minority, but I'm not part of SF Transit Riders. I'm not part of the Bicycle Coalition, but I love having the Upper Great Highway closed to vehicles. I walk out there every day. Today, it was really, really crowded on a beautiful sunny day, but I think it's wonderful for the city. People can drive on the other streets. They can still cross between Lincoln. They can still get to the Richmond, because Lincoln, you can go back onto the Great Highway. I just think it's wonderful. And I think it can be used as a marketing opportunity for all the people who come out to walk there, to shop at the stores that are there, restaurants and things after their walks, other kinds of stores. But I personally think it's wonderful for the city, and I support keeping it closed. Or as a second option, 2 lanes for vehicles, 2 lanes for pedestrian, the 2 lanes closest to the beach, because that's one of the options they're looking at, is the 2 lanes closest to the beach for bicyclists and walkers, and the 2 lanes to the east for cars. So it would be 1 lane in each direction for cars.
Well, I'm like to talk about it. I would say that the Great Highway, or the Great Walkway Park, is one of the greatest new assets to our city.
Hey, Peter.
Our civilization from the 50s and the 40s has been so car-centric. Like this is what gets the attention, cars. What we need to do is get rid of cars for all the real reasons. We need to have that place as one of the most beautiful extensions of our park and our beach and our recreation. We do not need that, and we should never have cars on that place again.
Okay. Anyone else would like to?
Let me give my 2 cents. Being a runner and a cyclist, it's great to have it closed, but I guess my opinion is, unless they can reduce the number of cars going north and south, they should at least keep it open part-time. So if I had to vote, I would vote for keeping it open during weekdays and closing it on weekends.
Good. Anybody else?
Why not open on weekends and close it during the week? I mean, why isn't that an option? I'm just curious why that isn't considered.
I'm basing it on the model of, let's say, Golden Gate Park, where, you know, like the upper part, the eastern part of Golden Gate Park is closed on Saturday, Sundays. That has been a tradition, so I thought that, you know, in the spirit of recreation on the weekends, that it would be that way.
Yeah.
Doug, that's one of the options that they're considering officially. And I
Yeah.
think the idea is people going to and from work on the weekdays. It would
Yeah.
be use a
Yeah, I
great
know. There's definitely arguments for both. I was just curious because for me, like if I think of the residents, us wanting to use it, well, obviously, you know, we can use it on the weekdays because we live here. You know, the weekends is perhaps promoting people from the outside to use that a little bit more. But the weekends are also the time when the Golden Gate Park is shut down, when JFK is shut down, and it's really hard to get across to the west side of the city. And this is eliminating a major way to get to the west side of the city. So just something to throw out there.
You know, an alternative, and I haven't heard anyone even talk about it, is what about like just using it just during commute hours?
Right.
Who's going to turn what?
No, just opening it up during commute hours.
That may be one option they're looking at also.
Yeah, because I mean, I used to drive that way when I don't drive south anymore, but when I used to have to work down south, I would definitely, it's much more pleasant to drive on the Great Highway than to get on 101 and 280. You know, I'd rather be stuck in traffic with beautiful scenery around me than stuck in traffic.
Well, the road from Sloat to Skyline is going to end up being closed. They're going to turn that into a park because of all the wastewater and all of the, you know, the ocean. So that's going to be closed anyway in a few years.
Yeah, so it's getting harder and harder to get to the west side. I mean, I'm in another committee in the Golden Gate Park too that talks about access and, you know, and I'm with. I mean, I trust me, I hate cars, but you know, but I also think it's you know, we are where we're at, and I think Oprah made a good point that until we can figure out reduction, it's very hard to make these things permanent until the MTA is back up, until there's ways to get around. I think it's really hard to eliminate this for people, you know, for someone who lives in the Richmond who wants to come to Underdogs too. Like, yes, back in the day they could use the MTA, but that's not really happening much. So they're either not coming or they're driving now. You know, that's the reality of that. And we have a lot of customers that
Back
come over.
the 18 bus.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, with 18s, but you know, that's like not always. It's 45 minutes sometimes on, you know, in between 18s, but for sure, that's all we have left. We used to have many more buses, but that's the only one.
Right. Okay. Well, I'd like to put us for a vote. I'm only going to offer 3 options, which we had talked about earlier, just because adding more with a council of 12 people right now would be. I fear we won't get a consensus one way or the other that way. So, can I get some shows of hands, and those of you that are not available right now?
Albert, do we have a quorum to vote?
Sorry?
Do we have a quorum to take an official position?
Yes, well, there's 12 of us here.
I'm not officially a member because I'm not a merchant. So I don't think I can vote.
Okay, I've got.
I'm not a merchant, but they allow community members, Margaret.
Margaret, aren't you? Oh, you're a non-voting member.
Yep.
Okay, but in this case, I've got Jessica, and I think there's a quorum is 4 according to the charter. So we do have enough here. Who would like to have it open up completely? Back to normal, full traffic.
Full traffic, 24/7, right?
24/7. Jessica, do you take a position? I can't see you, that's why.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. I think that it should be open during the weekdays and closed during the weekends.
All right, but for open 24/7, nobody.
Do Howard and Eileen vote? Because we can't see them. Well, it's not Howard, it says Howard.
Albert, I'm not a voting member, but I would like to make a recommendation, and I've made that I think it's a balanced agreement. If, it will work for both people if we can do. The only thing they said, someone would have to manually close a gate, which I don't think is, you do it once a week. Or twice a week. I don't think that's a big deal, but that was the consideration. And in terms of sand removal, they're going to have to do it no matter what. You can't ride a bike on a sandy surface. It's, they're going to have to deal with the sand removal no matter what. The one thing, if they're going to open it again for traffic, they said they had to do something about either maintenance for the traffic signals, and that was going to be a cost, and they suggest it was going to be a big one, but I really didn't, see how that was going to be that big of a cost. But my suggestion would be to have it opened on the weekend and closed on, open on the weekdays and closed on the weekends.
Got it. Okay. Thank you for your input there. Okay, then to close the upper grade highway completely, do I have any votes for that? Paula, Peter, 2? Okay, and then open on weekdays and closed on weekends. Jessica, I have you as a yes. I vote yes. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, does anyone demand a recount?
Could you just mention that there was support from 2 members to leave the Great Highway closed completely?
All right, I will. So right now, the vote carries that we are in the position of a 6-2 vote and 0 to open fully in favor of a hybrid, which is to open to traffic on the weekdays and closed on the weekends. Okay.
While this is unofficial, could I ask how many people would support the idea of 2 lanes for pedestrians and bicyclists and 2 lanes for cars?
Isn't there a
That would
big,
be too costly.
You're gonna have
Also,
to rearrange a lot of stuff to do that.
and also, isn't there the horse riding track? There's a big chunk of land all there already for the horse riding on the east side of the highway. It's big.
Not that I know of.
Oh,
It's not, whatever the paths that are off the Great Highway are not wide enough to social distance.
they are, never mind, I'll be quiet.
Okay.
See what I was talking about.
What, Margaret?
I just said that's exactly what I was talking about. It's hard for people to discuss it without becoming emotionally involved.
Okay. Well, I thank everybody for their input, but I think that is the opinion that I will report to Supervisor Marr. Okay. So I hope to see all of you out there. Have a good Christmas and New Year's. Stay safe. And let's just pull it all through, and we can make it hopefully a much better 2021, especially after January 20th noontime. All right. Okay. Have a good evening, guys.
Thank you.